Welcome, everyone. My name is Chelsea Kennedy, and I'm the Communications Lead at Kids and Company. Thank you all for joining today's webinar. We are very excited to collaborate with Connie Huson to provide tips for parents that are creating a space at home for virtual school. Connie is a Playroom Consultant and a mom of 10 and 7-year-old girls. She was a Toronto School Board primary teacher for 15 years and now helps families create organized play spaces at home that encourage independent play and keep toy clutter under control. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen, and we will ensure these get addressed at the end of the session. Over to you, Connie.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone's doing okay. This pandemic parenting is relentless, but I hope you can get a few tips today that just give your family a few small wins. I'm going to start my PowerPoint. So as mentioned, I'm Connie Huson, and we're sharing ways to create a space at home for virtual school. Ontario parents found out yesterday that we are supposed to be returning to in-class on Monday. So these tips could still give you a couple wins for the next couple days, and knowing that things are always changing. You can refer back to this later if you find yourself in this situation again. So much is still unknown, but I also am sharing ideas today that can be used in general for applying to the home to help support your child's learning and creativity. And it's all using tips that we would use as teachers in a classroom. So I hope you get a few ideas today. I was a Toronto School Board teacher 2005 to 2019, as Chelsea mentioned, and most of my experience was in kindergarten and grade 3. So my expertise is 3-year-olds to 10-year-olds, and these ages are certainly understood to need lots of play for their learning and development. When I had my own girls that are now 10 and 7 years old, I used things I knew about child development and learning to make sure our home was full of lots of play and intentional screen time, and offering everything I knew as a teacher of those ages to get lots of learning and creativity and play in our home. And then in 2019, I started my own business as a Playroom Consultant, helping families do the same and making it easier as parents to feel like we're giving our kids great opportunities that support their learning and development and well-being and future success through lots of play at home. So especially in kindergarten, the environment plays a huge role in how we support kids' learning. And it's even referred to as the third teacher in the room. There's the adults that are the teachers that are helping support the students. The children themselves are considered a teacher because there's things that they're learning from each other and that the teachers are learning from them too. And we also are setting up the classroom as another teacher because of the way that we're offering materials and the types of materials that we're putting it out and how we're organizing the space and editing what is there. All helps make it possible for the kids to be moving through the environment and learning. So for example, our drama center has the play kitchen, but then we don't just put that there and leave it. We're thinking of other ways to encourage the kids to integrate their social skills by suggesting it's used as a restaurant, maybe putting that cash register on the table so that they're interacting with numbers in their play, making sure the paper and pencil is on the table to encourage them just to pick it up and practice writing just by being in the space. And then on the wall, we have pictures of the classmates with their names beside it so they can refer to their friends' names to be practicing writing their letters. So it's a lot of thought that goes into the space to guide their play and leads to the learning that way. And then making sure that the space is organized and less cluttered can have an effect on our kids' behavior too. So we're applying that to our home to help create calmer spaces that makes it easier to focus. And just by setting them up, setting the materials up in a certain way encourages our kids to play well independently. And you can look at your space and think of ways that we can help set our kids up for success. Even in the home, it might be making sure they're able to reach their jacket on their own at a level that they can reach, or their cups and plates. Just we can change how things are set up to help our kids succeed and benefit their behavior. So for a learning space at home, consider all the options you have for location. I am fortunate enough to have a basement space that we use as our playroom, but I also wanted to make our classroom. I like being able to separate it from the rest of the house so that it's creates a situation where this is where we are for school and we can move away from it when we have our breaks. But the dining room table can work just as well, that it's cleared off with only the things that are needed for school. And I also have my own desk in the basement for during school time with my kids probably needing my help at some point. I've made sure that I am available to them. And I've found that parents have had kids easily distracted by video games or other things that are in the space, that just having your presence there helps to keep them focused too. And we're used to being in school where there's lots of other bodies around. So it's nice to have an adult nearby. So some people find that it works that their child's working in their bedroom and the parents are in another space. But if you notice that there's some challenges, see if working in the same space would help alleviate some of those issues. And headphones work out really well for everyone being able to focus on their own work and not be distracted by other people talking. At school, we have furniture that is sized for the students in that class, and that's not always the case at home. If you have child-sized table and chairs, for certain you can use those. However, with our younger kids sitting in chairs, it can help them by just offering a stool to go under the table, and then they're able to put their feet on it. Otherwise, their feet are dangling and it's not as comfortable. And just with respect to fewer distractions, you don't want the television on or any game systems sitting right nearby. But there are some things that work to have around that I'll talk about next. So on our desk space, I knew I wanted to have everything they might need during the lessons readily available. This also applies to when your children have homework, having these materials around. And one of my favorites is the 6-cup art caddy that's here with all of the basic supplies like scissors and pencils and pens, pencil crayons, markers. And it's one of the greatest tools that I use for encouraging my kids to do lots of drawing and art in the house, just because it is so easy to move the materials to any workspace and is just always visible to the kids that they pick up those art materials so easily. So I've got that on the table, and then the magazine holders work out great for holding your paper or workbooks or construction paper. And I also have some of little counters, little blocks and stones are on the table in case my younger one or even my older is needs those tools for doing any sort of math or activities that might benefit them. So the teachers are assigning their lessons and aware of what materials are available to their kids, and they're certainly not expecting all this, but it has been very handy for us, and it just keeps everything organized and easy to access. So I'm lucky I can leave our desks set up like this all the time, but if we were using our dining room space, being able to just have a box nearby that you could move the materials into to clear the table for when it's meal times, or this picture of an art cart that I did at a client's house. That's one of my favorite strategies for storing all the art supplies. It's at a level the kids can see and reach on their own. And it means it's much more likely to get used than if something's in a cupboard. But that cart could be repurposed for holding the laptops or tablets and any of the school materials. And then it works so well that you're sticking it in the corner after and it's not taking up much space. And that cart is from IKEA, but Michaels and Canadian Tire also offer that. And then the Art Caddy, the 6-cup plastic supply holder, that one is from Michaels too. So as teachers, we know that kids need lots of movement when they're learning, and that asking them to sit still for a very long period of time is just not possible. And some kids, of course, are able to sit for much longer than others. You know your child. If you have a kid that needs to be able to move a lot, then think of ways that you can offer that. This bin is just sitting on our desk that has a variety of fidget toys or things for kids to do with their hands, and it's been used quite a bit. So we've got a stuffed animal there, Play-Doh if you have putty or slime that your child can use. There's blocks of Lego just for snapping apart, and Poppets are big right now, so one's sitting right there. And the little squishies are also a favorite toy of my 7-year-old. So they're sitting in that bin, and that is things that get used quite often. And the kids just get to be able to move their hands while they're listening to their lessons. With respect to seating, maybe your child would be better off standing up sometimes. A stool or an exercise ball is a strategy that's used by some for children to be able to move while they are doing the lesson, and even a pillow on the chair might give them opportunities for movement. So those are different ideas to try if you have a kid that likes to move around a lot. One of my favorite videos in the past year for seating options was a kid on their bike that they were able to pedal while they were doing their lesson, and the back tire had just been raised on a stand. And I thought that was a pretty creative way to get kids moving during their lessons. And we know that movement at recess is important. The second that the class has ended, I make sure my kids get up, and some days I'm able to take the break and we'll just even walk the sidewalk quickly or play a game of tag, just chasing each other outside. My kids know that there are YouTube channels that they can use for freeze dances or other movement options, and Go Noodle is a favorite channel for those activities. And just putting on a song and having a dance party is another way to just get kids moving within the 10-minute break, which also includes snack time. It's not a lot of time, but it's super important to me that the kids are expending some of that energy after sitting for all the lessons. In a classroom, it's important you always have a schedule available for kids to see so they know where they are in their day, what's coming next. And some kids rely on the schedule a lot more than others. But I think especially in the virtual school situation, it can help get kids to the next stretch, knowing that snack break is coming up soon, or it's almost lunch, or how much of the day has been completed and how little is still left. So I've wrote out from the information the teachers gave us what is happening in that day, and also put in when we're going to make sure we get outside. So after eating, that the kids get out for a walk around the block. And at the end of the day, I'm going to plan to make sure I can take a break from work around 4 o'clock so we can get to the park, or even just a walk around the neighborhood, depending on how much time we have. It's been beneficial to pack up snacks and lunch at the end of the day or before school starts, so that we don't have to spend that time making the food, and that my kids can just help themselves to it as soon as those opportunities arise during the day. And they don't need to ask for any help with that. It's just in the lunch bag in the fridge, ready for them to grab. One trick for the schedule I've offered is using a page protector or a Ziploc bag to put over the schedule, that if you have a kid that would find satisfaction from scratching out each part of the day using a dry erase marker, that's something that you can try. And just knowing schedules work really great for most kids. This is something you can also consider doing even for when we're back in school, but you have a kid that just needs constant instruction during the day about what they're supposed to do to get ready for school, what's next. If you have that schedule written out, some kids do really well referring to it, like I have to brush my teeth and get dressed and make sure my lunch is in my backpack. These are strategies that can just help with parenting wins in general. I have also, with my kids, get your kids involved to come up with a list of activities that they can do when it's recess or playtime, especially if you have younger kids and they have scheduled free time, or you just need that break from the screen. So you've turned the computer off, but they still need something to do, that you've written out some of their favorite toys or activities that they can refer to. And you could always, if you have a younger child that isn't reading yet, you could be getting just picture icons from Google to be putting on your piece of paper instead. So that is something that can work really well for making sure you don't have a kid that's asking you, like, what can I do? I'm bored. I don't know what to do. You can easily say, refer to your list of activities and pick something. And at the bottom here, I've said we're just every day over dinner is such a great time to review what worked well, what didn't. It's so important to praise our kids for things that they did right and that went well, to encourage more of that. So I've let them know how proud I am for getting through things all on their own and really noticing how they're getting better at some of the skills that they have to use and how they got their work done. And then also discussing like what didn't work well. Like, so certainly after the first day, I said, you can't say mom 4 times in a row. You say my name once, wait for me to finish my thought and look at you. And then when we're looking at each other, let me know what I can help with. So even little things like that, making really clear expectations about what we want for their behavior and when we are available and how to get our attention can really work well to just make sure everyone knows exactly what's expected. And for our younger ones in particular, I certainly that they learn through play, and we are doing an amazing job by offering them opportunities and time and space at home for play. And this is how they're learning in school, and the whole screen situation is not what is best for kids, but everyone coming up with a solution for the unique situation we are in. But remembering that when kids are playing, they are practicing things that they have learned. They get to build their confidence through having that time to explore their interests and try things out. And it's certainly known that this is how kids make sense of the world and can act out things that went wrong to help relieve their stress and deal with their issues. And kids are using their imagination and creativity when they're playing. And one of the things I'm most excited about with my work is that it's known that creativity is one of the most important job skills now, and especially in the future, that we need people to be great at coming up with new ideas when there's going to be jobs our kids are doing that don't even exist yet, and problems in the world that need solving. That one of the best things we can do for our kids' future success is just giving them that time to play and foster their creativity. And that's going to benefit them so much in the future too. So if you have kids that need time for play at home, one of the best ways to encourage that independent play is having toys sorted into bins, making sure they're easy for your child to see and reach on their own, and having a home for each bin at the end of the day makes it easy for our kids to find what they're looking for, as well as tidy it up after. So it's a win all around. I do have a blog post on my website that is getting mentioned at the end on how to encourage independent play, if that's something that you want to encourage more of at home. I just want to stress that I support every family doing whatever works for them. And tech issues in particular make it almost impossible for virtual school to work with our younger ones if they aren't able to operate the computer on their own. So I just want to stress that we want to make sure our kids know that we love them, that this is a hard situation for all of us, and that your family is a team and you're going to work together to get through this. And I think all kids that are feeling that love and support are going to get through it okay. I'd like to share that I offer virtual playroom consultations, as well as I've been supporting families with their home learning situation and scheduling. To the Kids & Co community, you can save 15% off that virtual service if you book with me by January 31st using code KidsCo15. And those in the Toronto area, I offer in-home consultations, which includes actually sorting and organizing and displaying toys. And I also do courses like for starting kindergarten and for creating playrooms that you can sign up for my newsletter on my website or follow along on Instagram or Facebook to know when those are being offered. And the website's conniehuson.com. And I would love to answer any questions that we've got. I see there's some in the chat. I think I will stop my screen share.
Thank you so much, Connie. That was really, really great. Yes, as Connie said, now's the time to ask any questions that you may have, and we'll get them answered before the end of the session.
Great. I can see just in the chat asking about the recording, so that will certainly be offered. And if anyone has any questions that are watching this in the recording, by all means, please send me a message through my email or socials. I'd be happy to answer them there.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, thank you, Connie, for sharing all your knowledge with us today. And thank you, all of the attendees, for joining us. I'll give you guys one more minute. Oh, we have a question here. Do you have any suggestions for resources we can do to make visual schedules for the day?
Well, I myself even just use Google image search and copy and paste pictures from there into Word. So I feel like that works easy, and that's one to refer to.
Wonderful. Okay, we have some thank yous coming in. Thank you guys for joining us. All right, and as Connie said, I'll be sharing a follow-up, so I will include some of her contact information. So if you have any questions a little bit down the line, she will be sure to answer them for you. Okay, thank you so much for me. Bye.
Thanks
everyone.
for having me. Good luck, everybody. Take care.